Aesthetically, sure, he understands it, kinda. But Fritz Siler still ain't thrilled for a couple of reasons. First off, like most Auburn fans, his aversion to change is off the charts. Secondly, though he sees how it might be easier to produce, the design, in his words, lacks clarity. Not that the university's branding strategy-based decision to tweak the iconic logo he created with beer and some brown butcher paper as an Auburn freshman negates his unheralded contributions to old alma mater, but now he can't nudge his neighbor at a football game, point to midfield, and say, hey, one night in 1965, while I was studying for my final in advanced Anheuser-Busch, I came up with that thing. Now it will have to be, I came up with the thing that thing is based on. It just doesn't have the same ring to it. I called up the 1975 Auburn graduate, he was on the 10-year plan, to get his thoughts on the last 24 hours for the inaugural episode of the It's Pronounced Jordan Revival. You know what to do.
And now for something completely different.
This is Shug Jordan, coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Say what?
No. It's pronounced
Jordan.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is Shug Jordan, football coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Oh, man, oh man, oh man. So happy to be back. So, the original radio version of It's Pronounced Jordan on the Drive on ESPN 1067 came to an end in late 2015, which is when Rich Perkins, host of The Drive, and I took the act to the morning airwaves via Wings 94.3 and fleshed the fun times out for a full 3 hours. We had kind of started it back via podcast a year or so ago. Had some decent episodes, had some fun, then it kind of died down, and now Rich has run off to the priesthood. And I have no one to share this sick, debilitating Auburn obsession with, save the man in the monitor reflection here. But I'm going for it anyway. So the idea is going to be to try to have 1 to 2 episodes per week, shooting for 2, maybe more. I know you're like, Jer, this is too ambitious. Can you really pull this off? Well, friends, anyone asking that apparently has not been listening to the hottest podcasted morning show around this past week, because old Jer managed to produce in post 5 episodes, 1 per day, of Jer Bear in the morning, and all in the coveted 7 to 7:15-ish window. I made it mostly on time. Had interviews with former Miss Georgia USA, Brooke Fletcher, some kid from the OA News named Justin Lee. Next week, going to have interviews with a certain someone who was in the Dukes of Hazzard, Auburn Mayor Ron Anders, the Weather Channel's Reynolds Wolf, and fingers crossed, Auburn grad turned Sports Illustrated model turned actress Jessica Trainum. So I would point you to the website, but it's kind of this wacky work in progress. So in the meantime, you can just try jerbearinthemorning.buzzsprout.com or just look for it in your favorite podcast player. We got it on iTunes or Apple, I don't know what they're calling it. iTunes, Apple Podcast, whatever, Spotify, Stitcher. Just go wherever you listen to them. Search for it, you'll find it. Jer Bear in the morning. Jer Bear in the morning. Do the same thing for It's Pronounced Jordan. Subscribe. War Eagle, bless you. Let's call Fritz.
hello.
Fritz,
Yes,
this is Jeremy Henderson.
Jeremy.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for getting back with me.
Oh yeah. Well, War Damn Eagle.
Well, ditto. More damn eagle back at you. So, have you heard the news? Have you seen this latest little bit about the logo?
Yeah, I saw that. Jeremy left. I've known Jeremy since he came to school there.
Sure.
I posted it on Facebook, and I didn't recognize any of the other names, but disappointed in what they've done to the logo, but I'm not surprised. I think if you follow the money and what a new logo will bring about. That's kind of a mercenary of me, I know, but it's I like things just to stay the same.
Yeah,
When I first designed it, I mean, I was 19 years old.
Right.
Played bass drum in the Auburn University marching band, and I just got tired of repainting the block A on the bass drum head every week. And for those of us who had to look at a black and white TV, it looked like any other block A.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, it could have been Alaska or even worse, Alabama.
Yeah, even worse. Well, so
when I looked at the thing, I thought about the color scheme too, and the block A with the navy blue and the burnt orange trim was beautiful. So I thought I'd just continue that on into the U. So I had mechanical drawing when I was in high school, and I used to do schematic drawings for an electrical consultant when I was in high school in Huntsville. And so I still had the tools and stuff, so I just sat down and did it, made a pattern. And I showed it to my section leader who I lived with, and there were 5 of us living in this house on Dumas. And when we did it, and I said, well, and I made the AU in several different color combinations, and that was important to me because it was going to be going on the bass drum head, which was going to be a part of the marching band uniform. And it was going to be a dominance of A with the blue with the orange trim. And we had to get approval from the band director, Dr. Bodie Hinton, to make a change, and he approved it, said I could do that. And so I put it on there in the spring for the A-Day game of 66. And then the next year, when we got to the fall, we actually marched in using 2 bass drums. We used the AU that I did, and we couldn't put the other one on the field because Bodie didn't want but 1 bass drum on the field, so that was that. And I was the bass drummer, so I took mine on the field with the AU on it, and the other one had the old block A on it.
Right.
So we could tell the difference between the high and the low pitches. Right. And then I went into the Army in fall of 67, and I did get back there in time for the Alabama football game, and I went in with them. I got out of Fort Benning in time to be there.
Right.
And I went in with them, and they had the AU on the flags and everything, and my section leader said, I guess they liked your AU, man.
Yeah.
I guess so. That's good.
Well, yeah.
You know.
Like, because Jeff Beard, the athletic director at the time,
I know.
There's kind of, right. Yeah. He was, some folks have like credited it to him that like that was, but that the dates are all kind of, I don't know, messed up. Like if that's the case. So how did he become associated with it?
Well, did you know Shug Jordan?
Well, not personally.
Yeah. Well, I met him several times. He was the nicest man you could ever meet. I mean, really. He would come out. I was in the Auburn Knights Orchestra when I was there in school, and we have a reunion every year. The band started in 1930. That's when it took its name,
right.
And it's still going strong. But Shug came out to a couple of those reunions, and he was just a hoot. Well, Shug and Bodie, the band director, were good friends. They're about the same age, and Shug had been in World War II in active combat, and Bodie had not. But he was he was a musician, and they would get together and have coffee. This was when the grill was in, being,
right. Right.
With Andy and the family there. And they would get together for coffee, or Bodie would go over to the old, to the field house where Shug was, and they'd have coffee there. This was before they had all the Coliseum wasn't there when I was there. Haley Center wasn't there when I was there. That was
right, like 69, I think.
Yeah, well, I was stationed in Germany then. So anyway, Haley Center is where the night practice field was. That's where the football team did their night practices inside this really thick hedge. And it's also where the band did their Thursday night rehearsals so that we could get used to playing under the lights.
Okay.
And Yeah, so all that stuff was gone when I came back from the service in '71. When I got out, I went out to San Diego for a year, and then I came back to finish my bachelor's degree. I'd been requested by the Army since I was doing so well in school.
Right.
In '67, there was a lot of that then. But Bodie and Suge would have coffee together. They didn't live that far from each other, so they were friends. And I know that they talked about this stuff, and I know that Bodie wasn't going to do anything without talking to Suge about it, especially if it involved the school logo.
Sure.
And I know that probably at that time, Dr. Philpott was our president, and I'm sure he may have been taken into account too. He came there in '65 with me. He was the freshman president when I was a freshman. Yeah, that's kind of how all this stuff came about, and just musicians being creative.
Right. Right. Well,
by the way, you know that flying A, the A with the eagle going through it.
Right.
I know who did that too. That was done about the same time as the AU.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was like more of a like late '70s or something.
Well, what happened is Anders Bookstore came there.
Right.
And one of the fraternity brothers and his son is my dentist here in Snellville. And another one of the fraternity brothers that were wise for their age, like that eagle from Anheuser-Busch.
Right. All right, keep going.
So what they did when they were enjoying what the eagle produced from Anheuser-Busch is they put that with the A and they put it in their back windshield.
Oh man, love it. So
Anders picked up on that. I think one of them may have been working at Anders. I'm not sure. I worked at J&M when I got back from the Army, but anyway, they picked up on it and they got a trademark on it.
Now, which fraternity are we talking about?
We're talking about Lambda Chi Alpha.
Lambda Chi's, man, they're behind all this stuff. Streaking.
Yeah, well, they were right. Yes, I know.
Yeah, they were right by Anders, I guess. So I guess.
Anyway, he and his buddy came up with this, Anheuser-Busch eagle flying through the A.
If there's any way, yeah, that's if you could send me his number, that'd be great. We can just do a whole history.
I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, it's just crazy things that were going on, and we never gave it a second thought.
Right.
We were just happy to do something to contribute to the school.
Right.
Really.
Right.
If I would have had my druthers, the band director and the band gave me the permission to put that on a bass drum head, and I would have said, okay, give the money to the band. Sure.
Well, so, through the years, seeing this thing, obviously, it's this ubiquitous deal that, to the point now where, just the slightest tweak to it has people just pulling their hair out. So, has that been a point of pride for you? Over the years, has it been every time you see it? Do you ever just, need to feel a little better than somebody and at a football game and kind of elbow them and be like, see that down there? And, do you ever do that?
Not unless I really know the person, and we're just talking about stuff about this. It's a nice story, but I'm proud that I was allowed to do it, and that the university liked it so much that they're using it.
Right.
It would be nice if I had some kind of monetary thing, and I got to.
Yes.
But I would rather that it really. If you make more money, the government just takes it away from us.
Yeah, that's true.
I could. There are a lot of good things that would come up. The music department having some kind of residuals from that. It would be nice if I'd gotten paid for it, but that's not how business works at university level.
Aesthetically. Like with the new look that they're, I guess it hasn't been, I don't know the status of it exactly. But for you,
aesthetically, I don't like it.
well, what's the issue? Is there something specific about it you don't like? Because I mean, if you blur your eyes and you shake your head real quick, I mean, you'd probably be hard pressed to tell the difference. I will acknowledge that to some of the folks who are kind of like, what's the big deal? Because there's a lot of them. I mean, it seems almost kind of evenly split between the I can't believe this, why are we doing this, between I can't believe we're even talking about this kind of a thing. Now, I'm still not exactly sure what the logic is. I'm sure there's got to be something somewhere. I mean, you don't just do this just for kicks. From what I understand, it's part of like their long-term branding strategy. I don't know. I mean, because you could have done that yourself, right? I mean, early on when you were laying the thing out, I mean, you could have made it like that. Yeah. You could have so. Well,
I tried different things with that AU. I tried offsetting the A and the U, and I tried all this other stuff. But for the sake of clarity and the sake of consistency from one letter size to the other, I actually planned it so that there would be those spaces in there, and that it wouldn't be run together. To me, it looks like it makes it easier to make these things without having those spaces in there, and it also changed the size of the space inside the AU. When they crushed the U down and made it a part of the A instead of two separate letters, because to me, visually and being the detailed person that I am, when you do that, it just makes it easy. Let's just make this right here, and then just stamp it, and we're done.
Right.
And but just the symmetry of the AU that was, that I really took a lot into consideration of how to do this, and I had to fit this on a perfect circle on a bass drum head.
Sure.
So in doing that, when I cut out my template, I had some I had brown paper, that old meat wrapping stuff around the house. And so that's what I used to make my first templates, was that. I cut it out, I put it on there, and I drew everything out. And it was a lot more difficult for me to paint that. I mean, I had to do it by hand. Later, they got screen printer over in Opelika to do it. I think Randy Brown's company or something. Anyway, so that the bass drum head was screen printed and it was already done. You just slap it on it, and that also changed the sound of the bass drum head, but that's something else. But I don't know, just the basic symmetry of the whole thing has just, to me, been distorted, and it's simplified it almost to the place that you have to look at it twice now to say, wait a minute, is that a U? What is that behind it? I just like clarity, and that's just me. That's just my personal preference. Sure. And that was when I went to the details that I did. And it was, I will tell you, a lot more of a problem to paint it on the head the way that I created it than the way that they have it now, because you can just make that one form and run some lines down it and outline it, and there it is. Right. If you took the lines off, you can see that, you don't know what it is. But before you could tell. I'm just detail oriented.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. I was wondering how the man. I mean, you're the person at the center of this huge just controversy now. I mean, had you not? I mean, think about it. Had it not been that Friday night or whatever it was, whatever. Now,
that's exactly what was us.
I mean, that's what it was, right? Weren't you just like hanging out one night?
No, I was supposed to be studying for exams. Yes. Once again, the Anheuser-Busch Corporation took over my thoughts as well. And I didn't quite come up with an eagle, but I did come up with that AU.
Wait.
And so my roommate was actually studying. Ken was actually studying in his closet there. He actually had a closet off the rooms there where he had his table and lamp set up. And I went in and bothered him, and I said, "Hey, I've been working on this." He said, "You're supposed to be studying, man. We have exams."
You're telling me, am I understanding right, that this thing came to you in a state of inebriation?
Well, not quite inebriation. It was just I was having a beer.
You were having okay.
Yes. And instead of studying, I was taking a break.
I got you. Okay. Gotcha.
an extended break from studying. And once I got started doing this, I couldn't stop.
All right.
And so when I wanted to see my roommate, he said, I thought you were studying, man. I said, well, no, I've been working on this. And he said, well, let me see what it is. And I said, I'd like to change the bass drum head. And I've got some designs here, and I've got some color schemes. And tell me which one you like. Is essentially what I said. Tell me which one you like, and can I do it? He said, I said, I don't know. And he said, I like this one here. I said, okay, good. That's the one that I like. He said, okay. So I said, well, can I go ahead and put it on a drum head now? I got a spare one. And he said, no, you can't. It has to be approved by Dr. Hinton. And I said, okay, well, he's going to want to see a full-size version of it. And he said, yeah, he probably will. So a couple of days, Monday or Tuesday next week, then we went in, and I had already done the drum head, but I didn't show it to Bodie, to Dr. Hinton. And so my roommate, not me, went over to see him and said, who was sitting at the desk, and there were the two assistant band directors in there, and the two secretaries were in there, and he said, well, let me see it now. He said, yeah, I kind of like this, but I need to see it full size. I said, how's this?
What did he say to that?
He said, well, I guess so. He said, yeah. I said, good. Do you have another bass drum head so I can paint the other side? He said, I'll get you one. So that's where it started. So he got me the other bass drum head, and Dr. Walls Billy Walls was in there. He was my private teacher, my euphonium teacher, and he said, what would you have done if he didn't like that? I said, he would have never seen this drum head.
Right.
I would have just had to buy another one.
Right. That's awesome.
I wouldn't have shown it to him.
That's awesome. I wanted more details. I like the.
Okay, well now you have them. It was a really different time.
Different time, right.
1965 was really different.
Yeah.
I mean, they had already done something in '65. They introduced a new uniform for the band.
Okay.
That year, and so the band was making some changes in its appearance anyway. And I think if we had not made a change in that uniform in '65, that I would not have made a change in the design on the bass drum head, because it had the A on it, the same A as the uniform.
Oh, okay. So why? I mean, what? So why?
I don't know. It just came to me, and I decided I'd ask. I think people have more creativity inside them than they allow out into the world, and
Right.
It's too bad. I do come to I'll be in the alumni marching band this year. Love to see you come by and let me know who you are.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, do you by chance anyway you can I know we have that photo of the drum head hanging on the wall. Is it still up?
Yeah, it's up somewhere.
Oh.
That's my roommate's house. He's got it hanging in his living room.
Oh, he has it. It's his. Oh, it's not in your house.
No, it's in Ken's house. John, another buddy of mine, John Christian over in Dothan, has got one too.
All right. Well, I will be in touch.
I'll see if I can get one somewhere.
Yeah, if there's any way, that'd be great. Anyway, well, hey, thanks again for everything. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
I'll be in touch, and I'll let you know.
Great talking with you. And do come by and find, we're in the alumni band. We'll be there homecoming.
Well, good, because I'll be on the field. Actually, I'm taking photos this year down there.
Are you?
So I'll be on. I'll come by.
Well, I'll be carrying the bass drum for the alumni band. I mean, I was a euphonium major, but I marched with the bass drum because they needed a bass drummer, and I played it in high school.
Well, maybe you can whip up a stencil and do your thing again. keeping it real.
Maybe so.
Can you imagine?
It wouldn't look real though. 72-year-old guy making.
Right. Well, hey, thanks again, War Eagle.
War Eagle, man.
Well, how about that for a first episode back? Timely, topical, insightful, the huge. Thanks again to Fritz for taking the time to talk, and thanks again to you for taking the time to listen. Please, please, please keep it up. The show is on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Again, it's on Spotify. It's apparently even on the iHeartRadio app. Just saw that. Should also be soon up on Stitcher, and it is indexed in tons of other apps and services. Overcast, Podchaser, Castro, Pocket Cast, Castbox, or, you can do it straight from Buzzsprout, so it's pronounced Jordan.buzzsprout.com, or it's pronounced Jordan.com. Until next time.